Hello there, guys. Manchester City are good at football. Hashtag analysis and all that kind of stuff. God, that was good. City are good. City are back, and we are back, extending our massive lead at the top of the Premier League, and it's wonderful. And this is the Fan View Live, where the members and Patreon second-tier members get to have a little bit of a chat with you guys and talk about Manchester City being really, really, really good. Because it's all I want to talk about, man. I want to be talking about it. If you want to get involved, that doesn't really work with over this. It's normally when everyone else is involved. If you want to get involved, you can get involved yourself. All you got to do is go over to youtube.com/Esteemed Kompany/join or patreon.com/join. And you can have your say as well if you are over in the Slack group as well. You've got a few people waiting to comment already, which is going to be wonderful, wonderful stuff. And I can't wait to talk about this game because it was a good game. Yet another fantastic performance. Honestly, this Manchester City side, they do not let us down, do they? They really don't let us down. They are brilliant. They are organised and they are wonderful. Genuinely fantastic stuff. Hello to everyone already joining in, by the way. So this video is for, just to try and give the members and the Patreon people and the second tier a little something extra. It's for those people, really. So I want to put it out to all the members and patrons eventually anyway. But for now, though, I'm going to get those people involved, but you're all absolute heroes. I'm going to go over to James, actually, Legend Cow, who's always in the live streams first. I'm coming to you any second now, James, if you are ready, mate. I'm coming to you right now. Big
Hello.
love to James here over on the live stream. How are you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah. I mean, apart from getting a bit burnt whilst playing football earlier.
You got sunburn?
I got sunburnt playing football.
No one gets sunburn in Scotland. That's a lie. It's not even possible.
Well, it happened.
Well, you got sunburn and you got Manchester City. You got to watch Manchester City win 2-0. It's been a very, very good day. And I also want to say thank you, James, by the way. Legan Cow here has been a member of Esteemed Company. He's been a Esteemed companion for a year now, which is sensational stuff, mate. I'm going to get you a mug in the post. It's the least I can do. But thank you so much for becoming a member, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. Like at the start of lockdown.
Legend.
Like start of lockdown.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do.
Well, you put it that way. It's like, yeah, well, nothing else to do, is there really? But it's true, to be fair. There is literally nothing else to do.
No football on the TV.
Exactly, yeah. So you may as well watch. Well, there we go. I'll take that. I mean, I'd rather be, if it's going to be anyone's sloppy seconds, I'd rather be yours, mate. That'll do. So I'll take that. But either way, what did you make of the performance today, mate? That was it felt good to watch, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
back.
Probably. I mean, I'm putting up there with one of the best performances of in recent years.
Really? That much of a performance for you? What made it that big for you? What made it that important for you?
It's like the energy that we came out with, in that, especially in that first half. Like, despite not scoring the goals in the first half, like the energy and the passion that the team showed, like that's what made it such a good performance for me.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I guess there was some question marks when we saw the team. I'm not sure how you felt, but we'll get onto that in a second. But there was definitely a situation where there was no guarantee that City were going to be on it today because this was a hard team. It's Leicester, and obviously it felt like about 4 years since the last City game. It was only 2 weeks, but it felt like ages. And I think it's because we had so many games back to back, and I wasn't sure personally how it was going to feel when City came back. Like, would they be focused? Would they be tired after international break? But you're right, the energy and the desire was there. I mean, even though that was, I think it's fair to say, was roughly, it felt like a second team almost, didn't it? You know, because there was that many players missing.
I mean, well, when you look at the starting 11, I think it was only Ruben Diaz was the only one in this starting 11 that played 3 games over the international break.
Yeah.
And everyone else, who else started up? Was away.
So we had Walker played for England, yeah.
Walker went away.
He played a bit.
Rodri was away. Was that it?
I mean,
Kev
as well, yeah. I mean, there was a few players who played a few games, but either way, they had no reason to be that on it, did they? Really? I mean, if they were a bit tired, we would have been like, that's fair enough, given everything. But
but
still,
the one that I was surprised though, the one that surprised me today was Ruben Diaz, because the guys just played 3 games in a week for Portugal, and now he's doing that.
He's ridiculous. I mean, like, it's weird to think that, you know, I was chatting with Asan, I was saying, like, it's strange.
Is he a robot? Is he the robot that's going to keep Haaland quiet?
But that's it. Hopefully, man. Like we saw today that this City team. That's the thing for me, by the way. Like obviously we saw how focused he is, but we saw how focused the whole team is. You know, like it
Yeah,
made me feel a bit better personally about the Dortmund game. I'm not sure how if it's changed. I don't know. I don't know how you felt about the Dortmund game anyway, but it's definitely reassured me personally.
yeah,
Because when you see the players that up for it, and they'd have every right, wouldn't they, to be a little bit tired or a bit underwhelming today, given
yeah,
the context of everything at the moment. But they were still absolutely brilliant. What did you make of
yeah.
Mendy today, man? Mendy scoring.
Mendy.
I was really happy for him. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the second goal of the season from left back. It's
Yeah,
like not necessarily something you'd expect, but if what Pep's said is true, and we're not going to get a striker, we've already got one. I like playing left back.
Yeah, I mean that. The thing is about that finish. By the way, Mark, you're right. It was a very professional performance today. The thing about that finish, it was really composed. Like
Yeah,
genuinely more
like
composed than Sterling or Jesus managed
I don't
sometimes.
know how much attention you were paying to the replay of that goal, but like his footwork for the goal.
It was lovely.
Yeah,
It was lovely.
I was like when I saw that, I was like, what? Is that
I
Ben
was
Mendy?
I
Is
was
that
not.
Ben Mendy? Is that Benjamin Mendy or Riyad Mahrez?
Yeah, I was not expecting that level of composure in front of goal from Benjamin Mendy, but
Yeah,
a fair play to him, man. He works
yeah,
hard, he's at it, and he's focused. He's a hell of a
hmm,
player. Well, I don't say he's a hell of a player. I mean, I say he's got a hell of a dedication to carry on going. I mean,
yeah,
I've been saying this during the live streams. I don't want this to happen because I think we should sign a left back, but. Don't be surprised, people, if we stick with him as a backup. I would not be
yeah,
surprised at all because, I mean, to be honest, I think Pep would have been impressed with him today. Not because he was sensational or anything like that, just because he was reliable today. He was solid, you know. And bear in mind, the last time he played against Leicester, it was a nightmare. At least today,
oh
he was
yeah.
like he
Was it
was
like is that
organised.
the game that he gave like 3 penalties?
Yeah, him, Garcia, and Walker all gave away a
Oh
penalty that day, I think.
yeah,
And or was it Ake one of them? Either way, but either way, the both
hmm,
fullbacks gave it away. And
yeah,
but like. But that was like you got to bear in mind he's essentially a backup now to Cancelo and Zinchenko. And
yeah,
does he really? Do you need to be better as a backup than that today, especially against one of the best teams in the country? Like, surely that's a really that's a good performance, you know, for in the context of
yeah,
what we expect from Mendy. So,
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
it's just Ben Mendy seeing that like his place at the club is very much under threat from the likes of Zinchenko and Cancelo, and
yeah.
he's now trying to put down his mark to state where he should be the starting left back.
I mean, it's obviously going to be difficult for him to get as a starting left back because it's
Yeah,
difficult. But I mean, it's just nice once
like
again
if he
to
plays
see.
like that, but if he's playing like this, then he's got to be right to
And
believe he should be the start. He should be starting.
Well, and once again, like Mark's just asked about, is Ake back in training? Mark, he was on the bench today, Mark. So, like, Ake was on the bench today. So he's another option at left back. Then we got Laporte who can play there as well. I mean, there's a genuine argument to say, like, do we really need one? And one thing I said as well during the watch on, which you probably heard as well, James, is like, if this Zinchenko was at another team and we'd not signed him and he wasn't a Manchester City player and he was playing as well as he played for Manchester City this season at Bayern or something like that, everyone would be like, get that Zinchenko guy. Everyone would be saying, sign him. You know,
Yeah,
it's almost like we underappreciate him a little bit. So, maybe we could just accept that we've got the options and put the money
yeah,
towards another area of the pitch. I don't know if anyone
yeah.
agrees
Well,
with that, but it's not a
like
bad
on a
idea.
similar thing of like I think like if we had just let him walk out to like or if he had just walked out to Wolves, like when he had the chance for first team football,
Yeah.
I'd be like, why did we let him go?
Oh, I would have been. I think is he might not have even been as good as he is now if he'd gone to there. He could have been, of course, but I do think he's one of those players. One of my best mates, genuinely, he works for Manchester City and he knows him really well. And he said like Zinchenko's the loveliest, brightest lad. Like I think he
Yeah,
absorbs everything at training. So I wonder if Zinchenko's one of those players that will just hang around great players and get better and better and better over time. Where
yeah,
his limit might have been different if he was at Wolves compared to Manchester City because he's been trained by
yeah,
Guardiola. He's a bit of a teacher's pet in a good way,
hmm,
really likable.
yeah,
And like I'm happy for all of them. It's good. Like,
yeah.
how are you feeling now ahead of Dortmund, man? What kind of team do you want to see against
Ahead of
Dortmund?
Dortmund. Oof. I mean, I wouldn't go the double pivot against Dortmund.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Nor
Like
would I
I'd
actually.
I'd have Gundogan and one of Rodri or Fernandinho.
Yeah. I probably would. Yeah, I'd probably
I'd
agree with that.
probably say I like then it's the thing of like I really want to see Bernardo play against Dortmund, but I don't know where to play him if I'm going to start Kevin De Bruyne.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really difficult. I mean,
But
like,
then it's
go on, carry on, yeah.
because like I feel for this first game against Dortmund, we're at home in a Champions League game. The most important thing is to not concede goals. Don't give them any away goals going to take back to Germany or wherever it's going to be played.
Well, when you look at their form as well today, they lost against Frankfurt. They're in bad form. They're 7 points behind in the Champions League race.
But
I think it's fair to say that.
Going into a big game on the back of a loss, you're going.
Yeah,
I'd argue you'd probably be more fired up to win.
No, that's not an invalid point. Yeah, and obviously the Champions League's a different beast altogether. Lyon weren't exactly in great form, were they, when they played us? And we unfortunately all know how that ended, so we got to bear that in mind.
And even it's just something with like we saw United just before the derby. They lost against Sheffield United and came and won at the Etihad.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. I mean, but either way, I mean, as it currently stands, if we try and remove all those jinxes and all that kind of stuff, it looks quite good. We're in really good form. We've got a full squad.
Also, one thing I wanted to say before I go off today is the ruling for that disallowed Fernandinho's goal. I think that's an absolute. Like, I'm not a fan of that rule that disallows those goals.
How come?
Because how much did Aguero actually play in that goal? How much of a part did he play in that goal?
Oh, I think I'll probably politely disagree because I feel like he was in front of Schmeichel, and it's an old rule, that, isn't it? So I understand what you're getting. But he's saying you stood offside, and he went.
It's like I find it very it's a confusing rule, but it's like I guess
it's one of those things, isn't it?
I get like what it is and that, but like surely the goalkeeper, the goal. Now, like, where did that rule just come from? Like a goalkeeper complaining, "Oh, he was stood in my line. He was stood he was stood in my view, so I couldn't see the ball coming."
Well, I guess the point would be that once again. I guess the point was that if Aguero wasn't there, maybe we would see it. But either way, man, we won, so we're all happy, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
James, man,
and also
I've got
Jesus scoring on Easter weekend. It's always going to happen.
It was meant to be, wasn't it? On his birthday as well. Right, James, I've got Joe waiting, so I'm going to jump him on if that's all right, man. But thank you so much for being a member for the year, by the way. It's good to catch you, man.
Yeah, I look forward to my
I'll catch you in a bit. Yeah, I'll be posting it very, very soon.
Yeah.
All right, catch you in a bit, man. See you later.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye. I'm going to bring Joe over now. Joe's been waiting patiently in the background. You may know Joe as Mr. Joe Butterfield, who obviously is a 93-20 irregular. Joe, how are you doing, man? What shirt are you wearing there?
I've got an Oldham shirt on. It's they were on sale for 17. My girlfriend's family are Oldham fans, and it was on sale for 17 quid. So I felt like it was
absolutely.
I've got myself some massive brownie points with the in-laws. So worth it, worth every penny.
No, he's not, Nicola. Nicola said he's not wearing a City shirt. No, he's wearing an Oldham shirt. Absolute, you massive yonner. But either way, I love it. Like, that's what football's going to become now. Oh, I wear crap team shirts now because I'm. But either way, that would have been
just a hipster. That's what I am.
And you chose an Oldham shirt. Anyway, Joe, we just want to know we are very good at football. What was your take on that game?
Very good, considering the players that we managed to rest and the fact that we came off an international break. I remember I was speaking to someone today actually. And they said that apparently Leicester didn't have too many of their players actually go away on international break.
Really?
I think a lot of their team managed to avoid the break completely, or they just weren't actually used very often. So for us to, especially with most of our team having played, of the ones that went away, that most of them played all 3 games, if not 2. So for us to a lot of the players who still played some international games, but for us to be able to rest, Cancelo, Gundogan, Stones, Foden, Sterling, at least not from the start anyway. For us to do that and still beat the 3rd best team in the league quite comfortably is madness,
mean,
mental.
that's not even an exaggeration either. It was genuinely very comfortable. I mean, I didn't expect. I thought it'd be all right, but I definitely expected it to be a bit more of a chore today than it was. I mean, I thought it was going to be a bit of like just a tough game with a few more scares, and maybe we had to make loads of changes to eventually win it, but we didn't have to. I was so impressed whether we actually got the job done with those players on the pitch. Not because they were poor players, just because there was a lot of changes, and they had every right to be tired, as I was saying to James beforehand. I mean, it's reassuring, isn't it? It's reassuring how everyone's warming up. What do you make of? Go on, carry on.
I was just gonna say it's as a performance going into the Champions League game that we've got midweek, there's a good time. It's a good time to be able to put in a performance like that, especially with, like I say, with so many of the other players who we expect to start in the Champions League not even being involved. So yeah, very good.
It's nice. I mean, this team. They continue to surprise me in new ways because once again, even if I have the slightest doubts, they do find a way to kind of suppress them. I want to talk a little bit about Mendy. Was there anything to read in that performance today? Was it just, is the writing still on the wall for Mendy? Has that gone any way towards assuaging any fears about the player or anything like that for you? Does it change anything in your eyes?
I'd be shocked if it changes anything at all, to be honest. He came in and he did a job. For me, the fact that Mendy played said to me that Pep's eyes, I mean, obviously, the absence of those other players probably said it as well, but the fact that Mendy started is 100% assurance that Pep had his eyes on the Champions League today. I think if we were 3 points ahead of United, Mendy would not have started today. I think that he won't start any game of any real importance for the rest of the season. He'll probably just come in for these games before the Champions League knockout games, I would imagine, just to give other players a rest. I just feel like the player that Mendy is, we seem to be linked quite heavily to this Nuno Mendes. I would be shocked if I agree with what you said before. Actually, we might actually see Mendy next season because there's been some rumours, haven't there, that maybe we'd loan him back to Sporting for a year, and with this Mendes guy, he's very young.
Makes sense, but it seems to make sense if I was doing something that would annoy fans of Tiki Bergenstein and Pep Guardiola, this is the kind of thing I think they would do. And it's just something about it. It's a gut instinct. It feels like a very Man City thing to do because it's going to be hard to move on Mendy. Zinchenko's playing very well. Cancelo plays excellently at left back. It doesn't feel like at the moment we have a left back problem. I'm not sure of that. Yeah. I mean, the idea of buying a left back is to have a problem at left back. And have we currently got a left back problem? I mean, that's a question, isn't it?
I think what Pep wants is variety, doesn't he? He wants, because if you look at what on the right, if you look at Cancelo and Walker, they're two very different right backs, and if you look on the left,
I agree with that.
Zinchenko and Mendy are two very different left backs. But the only problem is that what we initially bought Mendy for was to be that flying, overlapping fullback who could just he had all the legs in the world to just run past whoever was cutting in from the inside and up front and just whipping crosses all day long. I think he can probably come in once every so often for the odd game like today, and he doesn't do an awful lot of running up and down the wings, to be honest, not at pace anyway. So I feel like when we're flying high like we are at the moment and in control of 90% of games, which to be honest is realistically probably going to be the case for us for the foreseeable future unless something goes very wrong, Mendy could probably still do that backup role. But I personally, I agree with what you said before. I really don't see Zinchenko as a player who we need to necessarily replace. I think we just need to be able to. I think we just need to buy a left back. I definitely think we need to move Mendy on, because if Zinchenko goes down, I do. And yeah, fair enough. We can bring on Cancelo and put him on the left, but then that takes him off the right, which is, I don't really like having to rely on doing that. I'd rather we just, bought a left back who is a left back first and foremost, and just, went with that.
That's fair, man. I want to quickly get up the super chat because big love to. I'm gonna butcher your first name, mate. Takaduzwa Dembe. Sorry, Val, I've got it wrong there. Probably. He says, "Happy Easter. Whatever team, whatever formation. Let's have more trust in Pep and these players. They would give their lives for the world to be blue." Prophetic words, man, and sage-like words. But you're definitely right there. I mean, that's one thing we'll say is that Pep. I guess the broader point there, Pep does keep finding a way to make whoever's on the pitch be successful. And they are incredibly focused as well. I mean, giving their lives. I don't know, to give their lives for But either way, they're definitely giving an awful lot on their pitch professionally at the moment, mate. Big love for the super chat, mate. I really, really appreciate that comment, mate. And Joe, I guess he's right. I mean, at the moment, these players are incredibly focused, aren't they? They are incredibly aware. And Pep does keep finding solutions to every single question. I mean, I genuinely can't remember a bunch of players when the last time we had a bunch of players all this bought into, a system and all bought this into progressing on all four fronts. Because, I mean, maybe I'm getting carried away there, but it does feel like this squad is incredibly focused, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think 2018-19, we were close to this, but I don't think we were as... I think if we made as many changes as we did today in 2018-19...
Sane like causing a bit of trouble, not trouble, but you know what I mean? Sane was the one... Like with the sad faces, as you were saying back then.
So in terms of like having the full, it feels like the entire squad is sort of pulling in the same direction. There's not any issues at all. Everyone's quite happy to keep going what we're doing. Everyone can just sort of drop. If people have to drop out for a few games, I mean, we had the Sterling thing the other week where clearly something went on and he didn't start a few games, but I think that's probably just like a storm in a teacup. That's like something that he'll play on Tuesday. He'll start on Tuesday, I imagine. Everything will be forgotten by then.
Yeah, definitely.
But other than that, like we've really not had any. Everyone's quite happy with the playing time they're getting at the moment. Pep's done really well with sort of at the beginning of the season, sort of around. It went through a stage, didn't it, where we felt like a lot of us felt like he was rotating sort of unnecessarily, and we felt like every week we were seeing a brand new team, and it was a bit like where's the rhythm going to come from? But I think that has really sort of paid dividends now because everyone's had so much rest and everyone's been given like weeks off by not playing every single week. Whereas teams like Liverpool, for example, have had to put out the same starting 11 every single week, and they're all like clearly suffering for it now. So yeah, I think rotation has sort of kept everyone on side, to be honest.
It's working as well. It's working. I want to get onto a player that I stung the hornet's nest before kickoff.
Aguero, yes, I knew you were going to ask me about this.
And I was right. I thought about tweeting it again. I thought about tweeting about it afterwards because I was Leicester yet again. I'm sorry, I was right fucking again because I'm not always right. I'm often wrong, but I'm mostly right. I would say because I try to look at the bigger picture. And everyone's gone quiet, and rightfully so. And I nearly tweeted kind of piffily at full time, going, I guess I was right about Aguero. But then I turned. If I saw someone tweet that, I would have gone, we just won 2-0. You're moaning about a player. So in my head, I was like, Stephen, don't do it. Even though I wanted to make a point to people, I was like, don't just forget it. It's fine. No one cares. But to me, what I said to anyone watching who didn't see the tweets beforehand, I said, I wish I could share everyone's excitement about Aguero because these days it feels when we see Aguero starting, it's not about him on the pitch, it's more about nostalgia. Essentially, we get excited for who he is as opposed to what he is. And I got a lot of criticism, people saying, oh, you're writing off Aguero. And my response to that was, I'm not writing off Aguero. I'm just taking the same judgment that Manchester City have clearly made on Aguero, that unfortunately these days he probably isn't the player to rely on. He's probably a player that he's going to be a backup player. And I felt today was a further vindication of that, unfortunately. I don't think Aguero did anything wrong, but I don't think he had the wherewithal today to be able to do anything right, to the extent that I think he looked once again, this sounds awful, and I don't mean it anywhere near as severely as this, but he looked like when someone, when you see like someone who joins a team and they don't know it, amateur when they're running around because they didn't know where to be. It looked a bit like that at times to me. And Aguero looked a little bit like lost in this side, and that's my personal opinion. Joey, feel free to tell me you're wrong if you want to, and because maybe I'm seeing it wrong, and maybe it's confirmation bias. But to me, Aguero looked like a man who didn't understand this system and how this Manchester City are going to be. But what's your take on it?
I think you're right. Anyone who expects us to see... I tweeted before the game, if we get 5 goals out of Aguero between now and the end of the season, that is, I consider, a massive bonus. Like, I really don't expect him to... I don't expect him to score more than 2 goals between now and the end of the season. I really don't. And I think they'll be absolute gimmies. They'll just be like tap-ins that he gets at the far post after a bit of... Yeah. I honestly, like, anyone who looks at Aguero on a team... And I love him. And I'll forever love him. But anyone who sees Aguero sees Aguero on a team,
literally there
exactly. Anyone who sees Aguero on a team sheet now and gets excited is deluded. Like he's not. He's like. But I guess you can be excited, excited emotionally.
Yes, I was just give you that caveat there because deluded is probably it's more like they're thinking with the heart instead of the head. I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to see him play because I love the idea that he could score a hat trick, but I don't actually think he'll score a hat trick. Like, he's not going to do it because that's just not who he is anymore. Like, his legs are gone. Like, he's had 12 months where he's basically not played any football for whatever reason, and it's sad, but this is who he is now. Like, by next season, when he's had a full preseason in him, when he's set up with a brand new team and he's the focal point of someone else again. He may well have another 15, 20 goal season in him somewhere. I don't know. But at Manchester City right now, he is just not the player that we all wish he was and we all remember him to be. Like, it's just not the... And we saw it today. Like, there was that one bit of link-up play that led to... Jesus had a cutback that he didn't get enough power on. It was like a 1-2 between him and Jesus, I think it was. And then Jesus had a cutback that he couldn't quite get across to Aguero in the middle. That was one nice bit of play. And there was the one where the ball dropped out of the sky. Aguero saw it all the way, had all the time in the world to line up that volley, and he just spooned it straight over. And that's what prime Aguero he would eat that. He would just put that away and it's job done. Like, we've got a goal. But I just think that it's the nature of having had a long, severe knee injury at the age of 32, 33. Go on.
For me, it's like I think it's so. DJ in here puts, why do all the top clubs want to sign him? Because he's
because he's Aguero.
He's Aguero. And what I will say is that I'm not even criticizing his ability really. What I'm saying is I think it's pretty obvious to me that this team have spent. Look, I'm going to try and outline it as simple as possible. This team has spent a year learning how to play without Aguero, clearly. And our system is adapt, and we've got used to this fluid system where Jesus goes to the left and Foden goes to the middle. Mahrez cuts inside. I think that moment where Mahrez and Aguero both made the exact same run, Aguero was always like, what's this guy doing in my space? Because that's what we do now. That's what Manchester City do now. And they take those situations. And Aguero... if we were still playing, feed the striker, get him to score goals, I'm sure he'd be very useful. But I guess the point I'm making is that Manchester City probably could learn to play that way again. But right now, I would guess Guardiola thinks he's probably not worth the effort, unfortunately, because we found a way to work and Aguero is going to go next season. That's harsh and cruel and life, unfortunately. That's how it works. It's very dog eat dog. And I think they've basically, they've balanced up and gone on the balance of, the balance basically, it's not really worth not pandering, but adapting the system that works to suit Aguero right now. So I think, unfortunately, they've gone. And he's definitely still capable of scoring a hat-trick, I agree, but I think they would have to change the way we play. We'd have to have players not moving through the middle to make space for him, and I don't think they're going to do that, and I think that's probably right, given what's worked this season.
Physically now, he's at the point now physically where we would have to change our entire game plan to suit Aguero and the way he is, and we're not doing that. Yeah, it
wouldn't be silly, and no one's being cocky for professional football. We're just talking about professional football. We're just talking about what Guardiola and the Manchester City's board have clearly decided as well. You can turn around and say that's us overreacting, but look at what Guardiola's done with Aguero, and look what Manchester City have agreed to do to Aguero. They told him, unfortunately, be sat on the bench if he wanted to stay next season.
Bring on Erling. Bring on the man.
And I love Sergio, but the writing's been on the wall for some time, and I wish I was wrong, but you can just see it. And Aguero looked very miserable when he came off today, by the way, and not because he hates City or anything like that. It's just because he looked like I couldn't get involved, and you could tell he knew it. And I think he's going to struggle to get involved because Aguero 3 years ago, when he was a lot more energetic and all that kind of stuff, he could have got involved. But right now, I think he's just. I don't know if he's got the time to get the sharpness back to get into the system, I think.
There was one moment for me where I think it was probably De Bruyne. I played like a through ball that just sort of cut through two centre-backs. And Riyad Mahrez was the one who ghosted over the shoulder of a centre-back and got onto it. And I was just like, that's what Aguero was doing 3 years ago. That's what a striker of Aguero's supposed current quality should be doing. But he's not that player anymore. It's just not who he is. He was 5 yards behind the play. He was nowhere near it. It's just that's what he is now. It's just he's not physically up to it anymore. And sadly, that's what it is.
And I don't blame him for it. And I just think, unfortunately, I think put it this way, Man City know it. Otherwise, they would. You don't let someone like Aguero go unless you feel it's strong. And I right now, I genuinely think if it came to it, they would rather start Foden up front. I think they'd rather start Sterling up front or Jesus because they'd rather play a false nine.
It's not quite Mendy level, but he's in that same category of we're probably going to see him before Champions League games where we need to rest whoever's going to actually start in the big important games. That's what he's at. That's where he's at now for me.
Yeah, Kun was ill with COVID, DJ, and I agree, but quite affected quite a few athletes. Yeah, no, I agree that he's just been ill, but I also think, unfortunately, he's been injury prone. He had a year off, and I think it's caught with him, unfortunately. But that's life.
Yeah.
Love him loads. He doesn't need our approval. He doesn't need anyone else's approval, and I'm sure he'll do something to prove some of us wrong. But I think, unfortunately, we've seen the best days, and that's fine. Danny as well saying, Jesus, what a performance. He needed that. Danny, big love for Danny for the super chat, mate.
On the left again.
He did need that. What did you make of Jesus today, man?
It was great, and it was because he was primarily on the left-hand side where we saw him play against Madrid last year. I really think, honestly, that if he's playing on that side, his track, because his running is a large part of what makes his game good, and if he's doing that tracking back up and down a wing rather than just dropping deep in that sort of middle of the pitch area, I think it's so much more effective and so much more useful. And he opens up a lot of space. Obviously, we've got Sterling who does that normally anyway, so it's not the end of the world. And I don't mind. I know I've been on here before and said that I don't really think Jesus is a great finisher, but I really honestly don't mind seeing him start games through the middle. Like I think he's a perfectly serviceable striker for what he can bring. But I honestly think that we've seen Jesus' best games for Manchester City on the left-hand side, and it's just unfortunate that we've also seen Raheem Sterling's best seasons on the left-hand side, and it's just we can't do. And exactly. The left-hand side seems to be the place where we've got an absolute overwhelming amount of quality, and we just don't have enough spaces to put players on. But yeah, for me, that's largely why Jesus was great today, because he wasn't the guy who everyone wasn't going, right, Jesus, you're the striker, you score all the goals now. So I think that's where the pressure gets to him, and he doesn't like it very much. I think when he's sort of that other, when he's playing off someone else, I think he much prefers that.
There's an interesting comment here from Jordan, and I want to touch on this briefly. Jordan said, do you think we'd need to adapt our style play if we sign Haaland? And what I will say to this, because I sound like a hypocrite when I'm saying this, because of the conversation about Aguero, I think we would. I think we would have to do it. But I guess the point I'm making is people go, well, wouldn't we have to adapt it for Aguero? I guess the point I'm making is that Man City probably don't think it's worth it because of his time left. And whereas if you sign Haaland, Haaland is a physical beast of an absolute insane nature. And while every now and then our shape would be a little bit confused, Haaland is he's the future, and so I think you would take I don't know, a 20% reduction in movement if Haaland came, because he eventually would learn it. He would learn how to play, and in the meantime, he'd probably score a whole bunch of goals as well, because he's fast, strong, and great in the air, and great at penalties and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like we'd have to accept a little bit of maybe fluidity loss if Haaland came. But I guess the point I'm making is Man City probably look at Aguero now old and injured prone, unfortunately, and go, he's not really worth the change system. Haaland going forward, not at the end of the season, definitely is, because then you got a whole season to prepare it. Where like we spent a whole season preparing for life after no Aguero this season. So I think that's probably fair. What did you make as well on the comments about Liam Delap, Joe? Obviously Guardiola talking about Liam Delap. What was your take on that?
Firstly, on the Haaland thing, I think it'll be a bit of both. I think Haaland will adapt to us as well as we adapt to him. Yeah. Like Pep's going to have a lot of people have talked about how maybe Haaland's pressing isn't as strong as other players in the world, and I'm sure Pep will coach that into him if we get him. Like it won't be a case of, right, we're going to just change our entire attacking play to just suit Haaland. It'll be a bit of both, won't it? There'll be some give and take. And like Ash has just said there, if he gets half the chances that we've created this season, then what
he has 2 goals today, easy. He has 2 goals today, easy. And the point is, I guess, even though he may be a bit awkward as he learns where to be, he's still going to get chances and he's still going to score them. So it's one of those things where we're like, it'll be a minor problem, but one is like vastly outweighed by the positives, I reckon. So I mean, either way, that would be a problem. That'd be a headache for next season, wouldn't it? Potentially. I mean, but hopefully, I don't know. I'm still cynical about that, but it'd be absolutely lovely. How are you feeling now, Joe? Finally ahead of Dortmund. Delap. We'll go. You want to talk about Delap?
Yes. Sorry. I was just going to say about Delap. I don't know how much. Obviously, I think Delap will train with the first team next season, regardless. But I don't know how much. Obviously, Pep said we're not getting a striker, and I don't believe that for a second. So I don't know where Delap will get any meaningful first team minutes from. I think he might get bumped up into that sort of Eric Garcia, Harwood Bellis category where he's going to play the Carabao Cup games. And I think that'd probably be that'd be a good place for him to start.
Every minor cup game,
Yeah, I can quickly see it become a case of he's training with the first team and therefore he's not really playing any EDS games, but he's not playing any first team games either. And then it comes to January and we just loan him out somewhere. But I don't know. That could be me just being cynical. Yeah.
No, you're right, because it's one of those things where if we did sign a striker, which I think we will sign a striker, he's not going to start ahead of Jesus through the middle, is he? Unless we stick to this idea of Jesus as a winger, but I can't see that. I just can't see it. And I still wouldn't trust Guardiola to start Delap ahead of. I mean, one thing I will say, to be fair to Delap, he's improved. I've been watching him all for the EDS and all that. He's definitely better now than he was in September, August, which is really encouraging. He
looks like a man playing with kids. He looks like a full-grown adult playing with 15-year-olds. It's mad at that level. Like he's just.
He never had any problems physically, of course, but I guess the thing is, I guess I'm touching on, I think his link-up play seems better now as well. He seems to be dropping a little bit deeper, and if he learns that side of the game, it would be absolutely fantastic. He already is fantastic. I do think, by the way, he is the real deal. But just because you're the real deal, it doesn't mean you're going to get a chance in this Manchester City side, because it's a quality side. No. Dortmund, Joe, before we go?
They are crap at the moment. They are really bad. But this time, at this stage of the competition last season, we were coming up against 7th place in Liga Lyon, and I thought we were going to beat them, and we didn't. And we know what they've got up front. They've got that big, massive Norwegian bastard up front who can score 2 or 3 goals if he gets any chances. So I'm not. But as long as if we get a clean sheet from this first leg, I'll be delighted. If we don't get a clean sheet, then I want us to at least go into the second leg in the lead. Because we're going to need that. We don't want their away goals to become because we've been burned by away goals so many times. Like I really don't want us to give them as anything to beat us with. If they score 1. I want us to get at least 3, so that we're not in a situation where they go 1-0 up and could just sit on it for the entire game in the second leg. I think honestly, and I know I've just caveated this by saying that we did this about Lyon, but we should be beating this team. We should be. They're defensive. They're not good, and we should be beating them. Right. And they've still got a lot to play for in the Bundesliga as well, so they don't have the luxury of like resting everyone before the second leg. They still got something to play for. So hopefully, the fact that we can. Might be a different deal, difference maker.
So the 7 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt. They lost to Frankfurt today.
Yeah.
They're 7 points behind with 7 games left. I don't know. So look at their fixtures. I don't really know who they've got. So they've got.
Who did they play before us?
They play obviously against us next, but then they've got Stuttgart. We're Stuttgart in the table at the moment. They're mid-table, so it's not going to be easy. They're in decent-ish form by looks at their form. Stuttgart. It's not an easy game either way. Are they away at Stuttgart? Let's have a look.
What about the second leg? Who have they got before they play against us in the second leg?
Well, that was it today. They played today before. They played today and lost to Frankfurt today.
Yeah,
2-1, and that obviously we play on Tuesday. Before the second leg, it's Stuttgart. So they've got us.
Oh, is that who it's for? Stuttgart, yeah.
So the life isn't good for them at the moment. I guess if Sancho's out as well, isn't it? So he's definitely going to be out apparently. So it isn't good. Either way, we'll see. I guess. Joe, thank you for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
No
nice
worries.
To be here.
Go follow Joe. Obviously, Joe at Joe Butters there. Joe is he's as wonderfully cynical as I am every now and then. For now, though, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Go and check out my match reaction video, which is posted. I don't know why I posted 5 minutes before. This is no point. I don't know why I'm doing that. 2 videos at the same time. But go watch it anyway. Like, comment, subscribe, and all the usual stuff. And we'll see you very, very soon. In a bit, guys. Have a wonderful night. See you later, Joe. Bye bye.
Ciao.
See you later. Ciao.